So I ended up back at this professional children's school because I just kept working. And then that school had Macaulay Culkin, Scarlett Johansson was in my class in high school. Like lots of very prominent working people, but a lot of them were, I think, more film or the arts, like Juilliard. They were dancers, they were musicians that were focused in New York. I was one of the few that was like, hey, fax me my facts, guys, facts. That's how old I am.
Yeah.
They faxed me my curriculum. I don't even think we had email in a way that was like, okay, let me get you your syllabus. It was like, this is your syllabus to look at. And then your studio teacher will administer the syllabus essentially. And so that's how generally that works is they're just administrators. Mm-hmm. And if you have a concept that you don't understand, at a certain point, you don't really need them to explain certain things to you. But in elementary school, it actually is really important that they have somebody to like really guide you for those 3 hours a day, because that's kind of like daycare.
Pretty much.
You know,
but that's it. Yeah, and that also poses, the question, why do people look up to celebrities, especially child actors? These kids were, in school for 3 hours a day. They're not even the full 8, right? So why are we idolizing these people?
Well, it's easy because they're in front of us.
Exactly.
And I mean, and it's
can't look away.
You're not seeing some kid in Boise, Idaho right now who's going to high school. You don't know who that person is.
Right.
But I mean, look at influencers. Why idolize any of this shit?
Yeah, I know that's a new one.
It's very similar.
It's constantly in your face.
Yeah.
And you're seeing a lifestyle that you think you want. And it's actually going to talk about the kid actor thing. A lot of kids that pursue this business are just normal kids that I think have the same desire to get attention and be seen. They don't even fully understand what it means.
How could they possibly understand the implications that would happen from?
So like talking about the choices, like earlier, it's like,
or future
it was very much my choice, right? There was no one pushing me into it or guiding me into it. I kind of like jumped in on my own. I was curious, right?
Yeah, and you were of age to
do that. But when you're a kid, you're like, yeah, I want to be an actor.
And in their thought process is, I don't get to go to school.
Oh my God.
Don't get to go to school.
The thing I hate more than anything is like, I want to be a model. Oh God, please don't. Please don't.
You get hammered up a bit.
No, just don't. But anyway, they don't know exactly what it is. But once you get into it, now there's like this obligation to deliver, and the pressure of being if you're actually a working, actor or whatever it is, there's a lot of pressure involved. There's a lot of adult world stuff that comes into play that a young person isn't really fully equipped to deal with. And they can't just go through, like if you're a kid just wanting attention, you act out in weird ways and do crazy little things as a kid.
I straight up burned,
but you're not under the spotlight.
And this was theater. I straight up burned paper towels one summer, way before even Stevens. I was like 12 or something like that. And I burned paper towels because I had a pyro phase. Like,
yeah,
I had a fucking short-lived pyro phase. I'm not gonna lie. And and they almost wrote me up.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like as an adult, like to my union, because they were like, well, what do? We have to make a report, and now maybe, you know what I'm saying?
Union, yeah.
Like, yeah, I think I've been written up when I was a kid. So it's just one of those things where you don't really get the grace unless you have a set like ours. Our set was, there was a lot of stuff going on, obviously, and not in a negative way, like just some stuff that I feel like Sean and David really, really tried to make a nice, inclusive, loving environment.
Safe place for young
even
people.
Shia and I got pulled into Matt Dearborn's office for screwing around on set one too many times.
Oh, really? He was like, you guys gotta
stop screwing around.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
What was
honestly, I don't even remember what
you
Shia
guys were wild.
and I were doing, but we were definitely screwing around.
They were wild.
Well, but that's what's so like when I was in high school, I brought a bottle of wild turkey to school once, and like, pass the bottle under the stalls, like take a swig and give it to your buddy, and they take a swig, and like that happened like once in my life, right? And it was like interesting experimentation. It was like, what happens when you do this, right? Never went anywhere. But like what's the difference is when you're a kid just going through those normal kind of like self-discovery, seeking attention moments, you generally aren't on a TV show where everyone's watching your move, right?
Yeah.
Now put you
because their job's online. Like if you're gonna get sick and hungover the next day, like your job is on the line.
Well, for sure, but I'm just saying, like, even if it's like if you're someone like a Shia LaBeouf or a Christy Romano that's a star on a show, and suddenly you're getting busted for, drinking on the job.
Oh my God.
Right?
No.
Or drinking at school. Like,
Dude,
the difference
very
is
different.
it's but I'm saying, but it is different, but it's not. It's just a kid going through the same thing kids go through.
Sure.
But because of all that attention, it becomes something much bigger.
Yeah. And it perverts it.
And exactly. And in some ways, it might even make a kid want to do more of it.
Oh, shit. I never even thought about that.
Ooh,
and it extenuates the stakes because it's
are you freezing?
I am freezing.
Can we turn the air off?
Can we get this guy a coat?
The AC off? Yeah.
I'm afraid he's...
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I didn't want to...
Guy's sitting here like shivering.
Sorry, AC's going,
This kid ain't got no meat on him.
What was I going to say? No, and it really heightens the circumstances too, because you got 300 people depending on an 8-year-old?
Well, for sure, but I'm looking outside of that space. You're right, though, right? Absolutely, everyone's depending on that kid to not fuck up, which is a lot of pressure to begin with. But it's like, I'll never forget, like first grade or even younger, Corey Enright. He was this one kid at my school. I wonder where Corey's at these days.
I could Google him.
You might not find the right one, but I need to find out. But Corey Enright had this habit of freaking out and running out of the classroom. We're talking a young kid.
Did he have autism?
No. He just was, a very emotional kid and probably had some, whatever. Who knows what the home life was like? I have no idea. But he would take off and run out of the classroom and like literally run off the school grounds. Shit would shut down. It was like all hell broke loose. There's a kid running loose.
Oh God,
we got to go find this kid.
And
we're talking like first grade. It was crazy. And young impressionable little Nick was like, "Ooh, that's how you get some attention. That's how you control these adults. You do some crazy shit."
Right.
And they all stop. And they all stop to find you. And I'll never forget being impressed by that. It was an impressionable moment. And I used some of those tactics a couple of times in my life. I made my principal cry once because I tried running out of the school. And my principal came chasing after me, Michelle Tucker.
Oh, no.
And I was like, I'm going to make her cry. I'll never forget. I'm going to make her cry.
Wow.
And literally, she chased me, and all of a sudden I heard her say, "Nick Spano, you stop right there." And I turned around, and she was crying.
She's terrified.
That actually happened to me as a kid.
So imagine being on a show now.
Oh, God.
And having the whole world looking at you and seeing the attention you get for doing crazy shit.
Oh, it sounds like someone.
And now you don't want to, and now you don't, and now,
someone.
it becomes a power thing. It's or an attention thing or whatever it is. But anyway, watching these episodes and realizing you guys didn't even have the high school experiences that you are now kind of like portraying.
Dude, no.
On the show.
To be fair, it was like middle school. And then I think over time when I got Bobby Deaver as a boyfriend and stuff, I started like trying to pretend that I knew what it was like to have like the normal.
But you didn't really have them.
No, because in real life, I went to professional children's school and they were faxing me my stuff and I was having TAs in preparation to go to like hopefully an Ivy League school. And it was like I was very much on this track. I do think that we talk about something really interesting here where it's like, where do you end and the world begins over time? And it's almost like you're at the behest of the writers. And we were lucky enough to have writers that actually pulled me in every season.
Yeah.
And did they do that to you guys too?
I would always hang out in the writer's room. I'd always hang out in
Smart. Make sure they wrote you in.
Pretty much. That's why I did it.
Yeah, that's what we were told.
And Dennis Rinsler.
My mom even told me one time, they hang out at the writer's room. You should do that too.
Yeah, Beans is everyone's mascot.
Oh, I was always hanging out with Dennis and Tom.
He was like the dude in the corner.
Shooting the shit with Dennis and Tom
little kid in the corner.
Time.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I remember the first time Dennis looked at me, he goes, "By chance, do you like bacon?" I should have said no.
Oh, is that what happened?
Yeah. It was like the second episode I was in. No. He comes up to me. He's like, "Hey, Steven, just want to run something by you. Do you like bacon by chance?"
See, at least they asked you.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they didn't force it down your throat.
Yeah.
They would pull us in and they would ask us, what's going on with you? Like, what is it like to, how many friends, what is it like being a girl? Like, they really would. And then I remember with the new writers, they had the girls, they'd call them Susie and Sarah.
Yeah.
And they were awesome. And I think they were there to capture the voice of me, basically. So I was very close with our female writers on our writer's room. And look, the family grew and grew up and grew in and grew out in all sorts of different ways. But this episode was fun because we got to see Ren kind of like push to one of her limits with female friendship. But maybe they dialed it back because eventually she, in a couple episodes more, they gave her somebody else that was really the best kind of friend she could have.
Was it Lauren Frost?
Yes, Lauren Frost was amazing. And then eventually Monique. Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Even More Stevens podcast. For full episodes, check us out on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get podcasts. Do you want more of us in your life? Well, then join our Patreon today. Link is in the description.